Okay, roll call City Council for the meeting of Wednesday, September 18th, 2013 at 7:30 p.m. Mr. Winarski, Mr. Brennan, Mr. Evans, Mrs. Rankunso, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Witherspoon. All please rise for a moment of silent meditation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mr. President, we ask that we remember all those in our community that are less fortunate than we are in any and every way. We also want to thank our God and Creator for giving us the wisdom and the information to make the proper decisions and best decisions for the citizens of the city of Erie.
Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to accept the minutes of the September 4th meeting and bills for payment on September 23rd and September 30th. Mr. Brennan, Mr. Evans, Ms. Rankunso, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Winarski. Okay. And we go to Mr. Thomas, Mr. President. Citizens be heard.
Thank you. Good evening. Chris Thomas with Time Warner Cable. And just real briefly, due to introduction, C-SPAN has chosen Erie to be featured in one of their U.S. cities tour, and Time Warner Cable is an affiliate and partnering with them. And we were very excited to learn that Erie had been chosen as a local company. We're familiar with the charm and character of Erie, and we're very happy to be able to help share that with the rest of the nation. So I'd like to introduce Debbie Lamb from C-SPAN, who can tell you a little bit more about what they'll be featuring and what they're doing here in Erie. Debbie?
Thank you. My presentation's only an hour. Anyway, I just want to thank you all for letting us take a moment to, first of all, the reason why we wanted to do this is it gives us an opportunity to thank you all for letting us come into your city and highlight some of its unique history and nonfiction literary culture. As Chris mentioned, we put these weeks together and we collect this programming so that we can air that on a special Erie weekend, October 19th and 20th. So we've shot, 6 to 7 segments on the history, some of the unique history of Erie, and then 6 to 7 segments on some of the unique literary culture. In the city here, we have worked closely with all the people that we've interviewed, whether we went to the Erie County Historical Society, we went out to the flagship Niagara, the Maritime Museum, we went out to Presque Isle. We've done a lot of different things while we're here, Penn State, Erie, but we work in conjunction with our cable affiliates. So at Time Warner Cable's been integral in helping us get us in contact with the right people in the city. And the reason we do that is, when we do this project is to connect the cable affiliates, C-SPAN, and the city together. So it all becomes a collaborative effort so that we can bring cities like yours to our national audience. So we spend about a week, and then we'll go home and we'll edit these pieces for air later in October. Now, I should mention that in addition to having it air, Erie will have its own special webpage, which will host all the video that we have shot this week. In addition, we'll provide links to the places that we visited, including here the city government's link. So if anybody misses Erie Weekend on the networks, C-SPAN 2 and C-SPAN 3, then they can watch it online indefinitely. Because in addition to that, we have the C-SPAN video library that's warehoused over 200,000 some hours of C-SPAN's programming since almost 1980. So all of that stuff is free for everybody to use and available for you to view. So before I depart, I just want to say thank you very, very much for having us. We've enjoyed it. It is a beautiful city. I walked out to I had to take a video shot. I say shot, and I'm nervous when I say shot anymore, but video tape of the old lighthouse. And I walked out on the beach. I had no idea. I mean, I went on the bay and right by the flagship Niagara, but it was absolutely beautiful. And I almost called my crew and said, "I'm not here anymore. You guys go on home without me." So thank you very much. So let me know if you have any questions or anything. Okay, thank you.
Any questions now, Council? In this instance, I'd be more than honored to if there's any questions.
How much longer will you be in the city, or your
We leave
staff?
Friday morning.
Leave Friday.
So tomorrow's our last day, but I failed to mention, we also have visited several high schools. I'm going to East High School tomorrow, went to McDowell Intermediate School. I also visited, oh my gosh, I hate it when I forget, but it was another high school that we did with Abby Cahill. Oh my goodness. So anyway, we've done several school visits where we talk about how to use C-SPAN in the classroom, and we're doing a national contest, which is Student Cam, which students can create a 5 to 7 minute video, and then they win cash prizes, but they have to answer the question, they have to create a message to Congress. So they have to use C-SPAN programming and show a variety of points of view as well as what C-SPAN does as well. So, yeah. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for promoting Erie, Pennsylvania. I know as a council, we're proud of our city. We have our highs and lows, but having an outside come in and see what Erie is about, we appreciate you taking the time.
Well, I thank you very much, and thank you for having me. I should mention, too, that the mayor will kick off Erie Weekend on our Washington Journal program on October 18th. We interviewed him at the Watson Cruz Mansion. So, yeah. So thank you very much. We appreciate
Thank you again. Any other citizens be heard tonight?
Good evening, Council. My name is McDonald. My property is 19th and Reed. I have a few issues. Of course, you all know I always do. That's why I come down here. I have some issues. I brought this up back down the road a piece about the city's contracts with these different construction companies. I want you to, when you make these contracts out now, when you give them out to these different companies, I want you to make sure there's some minorities working. They need some money too. Is this a white thing? That I don't see no coffee-colored peoples out there on these jobs, and I know there's a couple companies, I can't call their names right now, but I seen them working somewhere, one of them working somewhere today. They was cutting up some of the street. They've been going for years, and I ain't never seen nothing but white faces. There should be stipulations in there that they got to hire some minorities. Do you all agree with me? That's in all fairness, I believe. They can't go out there and take no job. Somebody got to hire them. And I want you to look into this. I'm not just blowing hot air. I'm serious. This has been going on for a long time, and I don't like it. Personally, I don't like it because there's no fairness there. What if when you went on your job or before you got your job and you were discriminated, because that's all I see is discrimination there. It's underlaid, but it's still discrimination. Those people deserve to make a living too. They deserve to make a living. You're making a living. It takes money to live. They got bills to pay too. So I want y'all to give them a break. Do what's right. When you write these contracts out, put in there that they got to have some minorities on there. And I mean black folks. I'm not talking about the rest of them. I'm talking about black. I see more Puerto Ricans and Mexicans working now, and they just come in here in the last few years, and they working. I see these young bucks walking the street with their hands in their pocket. I don't understand how come there ain't been more killings here behind that. They get out there and knock old folks in the head. I'm not saying that's right. I know that's wrong. When you take them to jail, make them go to school and learn the trade. Jail is a business now. It is not punishment, and that's not right. You got to pay to be in jail. Send them to school. Make them take up something in there. They're laying teachers off out there. Give them a job in them jails, in them prisons. Teaching these kids, a lot of kids, but a lot of grown-up. A lot of people just in jail, out jail, in jail, out there. But there's a lot of them out there that's in jail that shouldn't be in jail. Teach them a trade while they're in there. If they don't learn nothing, they're going back and do the same thing they were doing to get them in there. Are you hearing me? If you don't, you should. Because let me tell you one thing. You might get hit in the head one of these days, or you might get shot because that fellow didn't have no job. There's no excuse for it. I'm not trying to make no excuse for it. I'm just trying to put you something up there to think about if you got something up there to receive it. Send them to school. Make them. Now kids are falling out of school like, flies out of the air. They should stay in school. Them foreigners coming in here, they're just eating up education. I see our kids walking the street and them foreigners are going to school. And we're paying for it. We're paying for it. They took my kids off of my Social Security, and I'm mad about that now. I worked 50 years. I didn't work for them foreigners. I worked to prepare for my kids. For mine, not somebody else's. If there was some extra, then put it to them. But don't take from mine. I got the scuffle now. My daughter, I'm trying to get her through Gannon over there. And that's not a cheap school. But they took her off my Social Security. Them few $100s helped. We all think about what I'm trying to tell you, because if you don't, I know what I'm talking about. Y'all don't get out around them neighborhoods and see what's going on. There's a lot of wrong things going on.
Mr. McDonald, the bell did ring, but if you would...
I didn't hear.
If you would, I know.
I didn't hear.
Selective hearing, but that's okay.
But anyway...
But if you would, please finish up.
Y'all, do something about this for me. You're not just helping my kids, you'll be helping all the kids. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
I guess.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah. Let's see. I'm here about this Port of Erie.
Excuse me. Mr. Koppelman, could you please...
Probably already received literature.
Mr. Koppelman, could you please state your name and address, please?
Okay. Name's Don Koppelman, K-O-P-P-E-L-M-A-N, here in the city of Erie, Beverly Drive.
Thank you.
Anyway, yesterday I attended a hearing of the Planning Committee upstairs there, and the main part of it was receiving a request from the Economic Development Committee of Erie County to declare a certain area on here as blighted, and then to use that blighted area to raise money so they can bring in some manufacturer or something to locate down there and so forth, put in a port there so they can ship. They must be aware that 3-4 months of the year you can't ship. I mean, the lake's frozen, the channel's frozen, the bay's frozen. But anyway, one minor thing. But they're proposing to call this blighted. Now, and the normal term of blighted wouldn't apply there at all, but there's a state law that allows them to declare an area blighted for about 7 different reasons, and these reasons are trying to declare it are really, I think, really stretching into these reasons. They're Mayor Senate and the Economic Development Chairman Brenda Sandberg are questioning this because I guess first of all, the mayor don't like the term blighted. I don't like the term blighted. I know maybe you like the term blighted right here in the center area. I don't know, but they're raising questions as to for the Economic Development Committee, Erie County, to check out all these things. There's just not this one step declaring them blighted. It sets off a whole series of steps, and they want them to thoroughly check this out so you don't get halfway in and then the thing's no good, and other reasons, you know. So, and I congratulate them for doing that. I don't like that term blighted either. That's good lighting, but my eyes aren't that good anymore. So, I have a hard time reading my own notes. Yeah. They're not coming off a computer. They're coming off the old way where you write them out, you know. Let's see here. What else I got here? Okay, that planning committee really did a nice job. They did a good job asking good questions. Of the 5, there was only 3 there. But they were concerned about the term blighted too. And I went there to ask some questions myself, you know. But the public don't get a chance to speak. Well, let's put it this way, the chairman wasn't there. So the secretary running the meeting, who did a nice job, no complaints, said that really the public don't get a chance to speak. It's up to the chairman to decide if he'll want you to speak. But the chairman wasn't there. The vice chairman wasn't there either, so you didn't get a chance to speak. I did get in a couple cracks at them, but anyway, and yeah, so they discussed several things, and then they adjourned the meeting. Was it tablet? Anyway, ended the meeting to another time. They had more questions, wanted more answers. And then after that was over, they sat there and discussed things for about another 10, 15 minutes, which was interesting. I guess that's off the record or something. But anyway, they're going to reconvene, I guess, in about a month, something like that. But there is some problems with this, several problems, really. But the one that I might like to call to your attention, just in terms of the Port Authority, is developing all this land along the bay, doing a great job. And I guess that land is under their control, so why take it away from them? But the question where City Council can really help is that 2 things. The Planning Commission decision is final. City Commission don't get a chance to rule on that. And the other thing is, and you can check that out with Brenda Sandberg and so forth, and I think when they had this area out there where they're going to burn tires and stuff, some committee made a ruling at city. Now, just a second, if you will. The big thing that City Council can help out is the Bayfront Convention Center. It's in your need of your help. The Bayfront Convention Center does a nice job. They go out, I'm sure they got a great story they tell to bring people in here. They're in competition with other places that also have a great story to tell. Now, could it be that some of these other places might suggest to somebody wanting to locate a convention, or do you want to go 3 blocks from a blighted area, or maybe even go so far as to say, do you know that that convention center in Erie is in a blighted area? So the Bayfront Convention Center needs your help, because you can do something about that or offer your opinion or something. So anyway, okay, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Best to you.
Thank you for coming out tonight. Good evening.
Good evening, council members. My name is James A. Lawrence. The A stands for anonymous. No, my name really is James Lawrence, believe it or not. Last known address was 1013 Princess Anne Street, Fredericksburg, Virginia. I wanted to get it on the record that, in my opinion, the city of Fredericksburg government is corrupt. That's not limited to money grabbing, backbiting, and pettiness. It's a long story, and I can't tell you in 5 minutes, but the last chapter included a $35 million courthouse and a 4-3 vote on city council to issue municipal bonds. I told them at the public hearing that I vote no because they couldn't even run the old courthouse right. They let me out of jail after I pled guilty to some trumped-up charges, and I agreed not to return to the city for 5 years. I used to go to high school in Erie, and it seems to me this city is getting better, and Fredericksburg is getting worse. So keep up the good work. My hometown is in Clarion, Pennsylvania, and I went to a borough meeting down there, and they said I can't talk because I don't have money. In other words, their rules says that if you're not a resident and you don't own property, and they don't want to hear it from you. So these guys might not have their whole story straight, and they don't go to every meeting like I used to in Fredericksburg, but I commend them for coming here and participating in the local government. Thank you for your time, and thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
My name's Willard McAdory. I stay at 448 East 15th Street. I had a couple of things I just want to talk about tonight. The first thing I want to talk about that we need to get started on is that lousy, funky $7,000 we talking about doing for the kids for the work this summer. We need to get on that now, between now and June. That way we won't have no problem next year when the kids get ready to go to work for them 2 months. Just only 2 months. And we got a lot of weeds we can have cut down in this city in 2 months. And we got them all over the city. Okay? Next thing I want to talk about it. You know, it's been over a year. Matter of fact, this month, when we were talking about that black lady fireman we got that ain't nobody seen, do we really have a black woman fireman? Ain't nobody seen her. Do we?
She performed first aid on me and my family in a car accident, so she definitely does exist and does a really good job.
Okay. Because I ain't seen her, and then some of my people, they ain't seen her. Ain't nobody seen her. But now, is we advertising again, you know, like for the police and the firemen? Are we going out of state again with the applications to get more black firemen? And we definitely need some police. We definitely need them, without a doubt. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is, if y'all noticed the newspaper the last couple of weeks, you know, like Shad Coleman had 2 cases over there, a 15-year-old kid and a 17-year-old. You know, and he wouldn't send it to the juvenile place. He charged them as an adult, and as an adult, those are felonies. So what I'm saying to the judge is, he has no compassion for the individual. He's talking about the crime. If he's talking about crime that people commit, and he want to, you know, make an example, why don't he go and take a look at all the kids over at the Braxis? I ain't asking you, you know, to go through their records to expose nothing. Just look at some of the charges that these people are charged with and what they got over at the Braxis. Go to Gannondale. It's the same thing. Kids, some of them kids in them programs over there with attempted murder ain't got charged with these kids. All they did was commit a robbery. And I'm not saying that's right, but I'm saying is, what he's doing is, if they are charged with a felony, 15 years old, that means he's done in America for life. There's nothing else he can do but commit crimes. He can't get no job. People ain't gonna hire him with a felony. Y'all already know that. So what is he expected to do with the rest of his life if he's only 15 years old? What is he supposed to do with the rest of his life? Commit crimes? There's no alternatives to jail? There's no alternative other than that? Something is terribly wrong in this community. And we talk about the poverty that we have in this community. If there ain't no jobs out there, what do y'all expect people to do? I'm not saying committing crimes is the right thing to do, but hey man, people's got to eat. People's got to eat. And if they got children, they got to feed them. And y'all coming up again with proposing if you been a felon, you can't get food stamps. What kind of mess is that? These people still Americans. What do that change? Do a law make me not be an American no more because something happened in my life and the law says I'm not American no more, I can't have access to this? People in this community is going through a lot of changes, y'all. And don't seem like nobody gives a damn. And that's wrong. That's truly wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McAdory. Any other citizens be heard this evening? Any other citizens to be heard? Hearing none, Mr. Clem.
I have ordinance for first reading, Council File Ordinance 15,847, an ordinance vacating and closing a certain public alley located between West 18th and West 19th Streets and between Cherry Street and Walnut Street in the city of Erie, Pennsylvania, running approximately 130 feet north and south to be closed at the north end of the alleyway where it enters into another alleyway to the south. Motion of Mr. Bennett, second by Mr. Mursky, the Council File Ordinance number 15,847 have been read as hereby adopted on City Council. By City Council. Mr. Brennan, Mr. Evans, Mr. Rankutsu, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Winarski.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
do we know the purpose of closing this alley?
Pardon me?
Do we know the reason we want to close this alley?
The reason is the business owner, there's only two property owners adjacent to the alley, and they're on 18th Street and Cherry, and people are using the back of the alley to run through here all the time. What they want to do is, what they're willing to do, is keep the alley closed in the evening with a gate, but they will open it during the day. They don't want people running. They've had trouble with people trying to break into their businesses and things like that. They're only right here, that's it. And they own all the property.
Okay, now there are two residents involved. Are the residents in
Well,
agreement?
there are two, I think there are two businesses, or one might be just a landlord on the other side. It's a Thomas Scully and a Richard Hunkley. I think Mr. Hunkley is probably the landlord, and Scully is the one that owns the car lot at 18th and Cherry
Okay,
on the southeast corner.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, that's done. Next, we have a motion by Mr. Brennan, second by Mr. Mursky, that the request of Judith Farr for a two-story addition to her property located at 359 Short Street for waterfront conditional use as recommended by the City Planning Commission is hereby approved. Mr. Brennan, Mr. Evans, Mr. Rankutsu, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Winarski.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to move the balance of the agenda tonight.
I'll second.
Do we have any separations?
Mr. President,
Yes.
if we could just separate number 3, because we have some red notes on our
Yeah.
agendas, just for clarification.
My 4, okay. All right.
Any other separations, council? discussion on that? Mr. Clem for the balance?
Roll call. Mr. Brennan, Mr. Evans, Mr. Mancuso, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Winarski. Next, then, we have a motion by Mr. Brennan, seconded by Mr. Evans, and this is the correct wording of number 3. The property owner had the wrong zoning classifications in his letter. So we've corrected this today. That upon the initiative of City Council at the request of Caleb Pfeiffer, Executive Director of the Erie County Historical Society, the city solicitor is hereby authorized and directed to prepare an ordinance rezoning the Watson-Curtsey Mansion property located at 356 West 6th Street from it's presently, here it is. No, it's R3, residential R3, high-density residential district. And it also contains 6 additional lots at 333, 337, 341, 345, 349 from residential limited business to C1, local business commercial district. After preparation of said ordinance, forwarded to the City Planning Commission for recommendation report thereon to City Council, and it's accompanied by the requisite filing fee of $500. They're planning a large expansion there of the Curtsey Mansion, Watson Mansion, and they need the proper rezoning. And it'll be used for museum purposes.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Witherspoon.
is that property that they want to utilize, is it currently being used? Is it vacant? Is it an empty lot? Are there homes?
It's vacant, and they own it.
All those?
They own all the properties, and they've taken down the properties, and the land is vacant.
Hey, is there anything that they have to do as far as getting a written permission from residents, surrounding residents?
Not necessarily under the initiative of City Council, but everybody will be notified by letter from the City Planning Commission of the Planning Commission meeting, and there'll be notice in the paper about the public hearing in front of us later on in the year.
Now, if they're going to do that later on in the year, my question is, why are we considering passing it now?
To start it, they're submitting their plan. They want to submit their plan to the Planning Commission.
So we're saying okay to continue with the planning, but not okay
No,
to make it happen?
no, we won't have a public hearing in front of us until it might be the first Wednesday of December.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Mr. Clem?
Roll call, Mr. Brennan, Mr. Evans, Mr. Ancuzzo, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Winarski. That takes us to committee reports, Mr. President.
Thank you. Ms. Kunzo?
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
Mr. Mursky?
Just a few things. Went to a couple neighborhood watch meetings. The Snoops Neighborhood Watch. I was there on Monday. I want them to know I'll take their concerns to the administration and work with police and safety and the administration and Public Works to take care of those issues. Went to the Mercyhurst Watch meeting, and again, what we've seen up there in response to that is Mercyhurst gave extra money to our police department for overtime, and there have been increased weekend patrols up there, and that's been helping. And we still have a long way to go. I know code enforcement's been out patrolling the area, and I appreciate the increased presence up there. Last night I attended the United Way labor kickoff, so everybody who's aware of the good things that the United Way does in the community, I encourage you to be as generous as possible with that. I also attended the Lake Erie Clean Power Connector press conference, and I was at the Tall Ships Festival, and the Consul General of Canada was there, and I think Erie put on a top-notch performance and a top-notch show for everyone involved, and I know the Canadian officials were very impressed, and we're very excited that a private company from Canada has decided to invest in Erie County. I think that's an important thing. Whenever someone takes their own hard-earned dollars, this isn't taxpayer money, and says your community's worth it, that speaks volumes, and that's a big honor for us, and hopefully it'll lead to some more development along the way. So that was a good thing. And then finally, attended the block party for the Pebble Park Neighborhood Watch at Elmwood Presbyterian, and they're always a good time up there, and Tom Atkins brought good weather, so that was a good thing. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jones?
Thank you, Mr. President. Very quickly, attended a pretty well-known event in the Erie community, the GCAC annual dinner. And again, it was a well-attended event, and a part of what they do is celebrate people who offer tremendous levels of service in our community. And they recognize, just individuals who have invested above and beyond, I guess, just the average citizen. And one of our co-leaders on this council, one of our members on this council, an elder statesman. When I was a youngster, I'm still very young, but when I was even younger, we would call him an OG. He's a great guy, a great example, great mentor. Mr. and all of us are doing great things in the community, but Mr. Witherspoon was recognized at that event, and I would have to say, respectfully, very, very well overdue in a lot of ways, but just very much appreciate being able to serve with you and being mentored by you as a youngster. And I have to say, I've known Mr. Witherspoon for 20 plus years, all my life really. And the only time I've ever seen him without words was Friday night. And he always has a joke, he has a good comment, he's got a flair, he's got pizzazz, he's got all those and all that went out the window on Friday night when he stood there and just walked away because he couldn't articulate anything, and that was priceless for me. And so again, congratulations to Mr. Witherspoon for being recognized for all of your service that you have continually done since coming from Jersey to Erie through Gannon, right? Finally, in relation to EMTA and some of the requests that the citizens did articulate in our public hearing were mainly, and the majority were about safety concerns and lighting and seating and those types of issues for the citizens utilizing EMTA services. The executive director, Mr. Zielinski, will actually be at our next caucus meeting, the first meeting of October. Spend some time here to kind of give us a report back on what the E is doing in relation to those concerns. And actually, if you go to some of the areas that we mentioned, you can see some improvement already. And so we're just appreciative of that, first of all, and I'm sure all the citizens are. But also we'll have a more detailed report back from him representing EMTA on the further steps that they're going to take and the steps that they've already officially taken to kind of alleviate some of the concerns of the citizens. That's my report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple things. I just want to congratulate the City of Erie. They were awarded a grant for Little Italy neighborhood. The amount of the grant was $598,444.7. It's a federal grant to stem crime and urban blight in the Little Italy neighborhood. Everyone who's involved with the grant, congratulations. That's great news. And I definitely look forward to seeing this neighborhood improve along with a lot of our other ones because of this effort and also the Sisters of St. Joseph Neighborhood Network in the area. I truly believe that improving our neighborhoods is definitely a key to our future in our city. I attended the Erie Redevelopment Authority meeting on the 16th. A couple items that they're currently working on of note is a parking ramp to serve an area in the around 14th and State, in between there and by the Congressional Plaza. They're looking at a possible parking ramp in that area. So it's really under study right now, a feasibility study. They're just looking at the needs and possible locations right now. But this planning work, again, will be coordinated with the current master plan updates that are going to be happening soon. Land bank has been discussed before. The Redevelopment Authority is currently seeking funds to pay for a study to determine if this is good for Erie, if it'll work in our area. And also, last thing for there is the Renaissance Center. They're doing exterior renovations with the masonry repair, so they're involved in some of that work. I took part in the Erie 9/11 Memorial. Had a ceremony on 9/11 to, of course, commemorate the tragedy, but also we were able to install an actual beam from the World Trade Center. So again, a very important date. The memorial is not complete right now. There's still some things to be done. I think just because the contractors being so busy over the summer, everyone couldn't get all the work in time. But the balance of the project will include a concrete and brick plaza, granite benches, educational panels and plaques, and hopefully be done by November. Also, I attended the Hands Flagship City Apartments, had a ribbon cutting ceremony on the 5th. That apartment complex is at 12th and Reed. Hands actually renovated their old headquarters. When they moved downtown, they renovated their old building. But I just want to say thank you to Chuck Scalise and his team at Hands, HUD, the City of Erie, and everyone else who contributed to this great project, the designers, everyone. But definitely good affordable housing is something we definitely have to have in our city. It's important, and Hands is definitely the team that's been doing a good job for many years, and I'm sure they'll continue to do so. I also wanted to, last thing is congratulate the Tall Ship Festival, everyone involved there. I think they said that there was 900 volunteers on that, and that's truly incredible. And I know, besides just having all the economic benefit of that event, it also brought a lot of appreciation for history of our area, and also a sense of pride that you don't often see in a lot of events. But that was definitely a great thing for our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan. Mr. Evans.
Mr. President, a couple things. I attended the Bayfront East Side Neighborhood Watch meeting recently and was really impressed with two things. Number one, they presented their annual garden awards, and they had pictures of all of the different areas that folks had created vegetable gardens and flower gardens, etc. They were just gorgeous, and the people were so proud of what they'd done. And it was so nice to see them recognized. So my hat's off to them for doing that. The other thing is they really are working hard at improving their neighborhood. We always hear about, boy, oh boy, the Lower East Side of Erie, it's such a terrible place. Well, these people don't look at it that way, and they don't want other people to look at it that way. I think that they're really investing their blood, sweat, and tears in their community. And I'm very proud of what they're doing, and I'm very proud of their spirit. And I just hope they keep on doing it. David mentioned land bank. I think we're all interested in seeing that concept go forward. The Neighborhood Watch Council's asked me to speak at that, a little bit about that the next meeting, just start to get to understand some of the concepts, and hopefully we'll see that idea move forward in the months ahead. Housing Authority had a 25th anniversary party on Sunday for the Curry Shell Apartments, and they honored 4 ladies who still live at Curry Shell and were the first occupant of their apartment, so they moved in when the building opened. And one of those ladies is 97 years old. And I had a delightful conversation with a 97-year-old. It's great. Of course, I told her that my father's 98, and maybe we could get them together, but she didn't think that was a good idea. David mentioned tall ships. I spent 5 hours on Sunday directing pedestrians around one part of the tall ships thing. And the thing that impressed me so much is the diversity of the attendance. I mean, there were people from all over, not just the community, but all over Cleveland, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Toronto, etc. That was a marvelous event for Erie, and I just think the folks at Flagship Niagara really ought to be proud. And lastly, just before this meeting tonight, I attended the Perry Square Alliance meeting over at the, and celebration over at the Art Museum, and they honored Gloria Knox, because Gloria, some years ago, kind of adopted Perry Square as a personal project of hers. And she has put in countless hours She's recruited corporate sponsors, she's recruited lots of volunteers, and today Perry Square is a very different place than it was 8 years ago, and I think we all owe Gloria a real debt of appreciation for all that she's done over the years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Master Witherspoon.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is very important that I follow the suit that has been laid before me by Jessica Haran Kunso. No report.
Thank you. Just a few notes to follow up with Mr. Jones on the award given to Mr. Witherspoon at that GCAC dinner was our Benjamin Wiley Award, which is a top award. I mean, it was like the pinnacle of the night when Mr. Witherspoon didn't have too much to say other than tonight, but well-deserved, and proud that he's part of this council because he definitely is an asset to the city and this council. You're welcome. I just want to thank the Sons of Lake Erie. Those guys gave us a nice lunch there a couple weeks back, and they're huge in this community too. They look out for all of us, and they're huge on the bayfront there. They come young, come old, and young and old. It's all about our bayfront, the fishing, and keeping things going that are an asset to this city. And I appreciate the great luncheon they gave for all the council and a lot of people from the city that made it down there. The only other thing I want to comment on is my council here themselves. A lot of committees, a lot of authority meetings, and I try to do it more often than I have, but appreciate the effort. Everybody has jobs and full-time jobs and families, and just appreciate the reports you give when you give them. Not necessarily tonight all the way, but I appreciate the hard work, and please keep up the good work. Our controller, Mr. Quintowski.
Well, Mr. Clem's going to pass out my annual report, and in the meantime, I'll give you my quick report. We attended the 9/11 Memorial, and I'd like to thank former Councilman Mark Alexandrowicz for his fine work in completing that project. We also attended the Elmwood Presbyterian Neighborhood Watch block party. That's partly in my old neighborhood, great bunch of people. We attended the South Hills Neighborhood Watch meeting along with Councilman Kunso and Councilman Mirsky. I want to thank them for attending. I received a lot of phone calls, very appreciative of your attendance. They're glad that you saw the severity of the problem. As you probably read in the paper today, there was another article about it. We also attended the United Way Labor Dinner and also the Slavic Festival. Jim, who won that Browns outfit?
No, it wasn't you, and it wasn't me.
Wasn't me either, but I put it up.
Well, at least we had some good beer and food. Jim, did you pass that out?
Yes.
Okay. As I have to do every year at this time, it's my yearly report, and I won't read it verbatim to you, just hit the highlights that basically this concerns the MMO for the coming year. And it says basically a 2014 minimum municipal obligation, which includes $251,218, which is the portion paid by the Erie City Water Authority. The MMO would total $10,164,351. As bad as that sounds, well, it is a small good lining to it, that this represents, I don't like to say only, but it represents a $74,935 increase. And that result is basically due, after the actuary and I looked it over and consulted with administration, it's basically due to payroll increases, which changed the whole assumption rate and everything with future payments. But that's it in a nutshell, and I have to hand it out to you once a year so you're prepared. And I thank you for your attention, and the mayor has been notified, and so has the finance department. Thank you.
Administration.
Thank you. On behalf of the administration, I would just like to thank Mr. Witherspoon, or, excuse me, congratulate Mr. Witherspoon on the receiving the Ard Mitchell Wiley Award at the GCAC dinner. And that's all.
Thank you. Mr. Clem, I believe we're done.
Okay, City Council now adjourned at 8:24 p.m. Mr. Winarski, Mr. Brennan, Mr. Evans, Mr. Rancuso, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Witherspoon.
Want a copy?